Hello and welcome to Jim's Kitchen. Today's episode is dedicated to the Secret Garden Cookbook. As a youngster, the Secret Garden was actually one of my favorite books. I just loved reading it about Mary, Colin, and Dickon and their adventures in the Secret Garden. It's just so precious. It's kind of like a fairy tale, and just I myself wanted to live in that secret garden. My favorite character in the book was definitely Dickon, who lived in a cottage with his large family outside of the big mansion. And I just loved the way he planted all of his foods and how he would spend time and talk to the animals. I just thought he was so cool and I wanted to be him. Well, I'm trying 3 recipes in this book, and the first recipe is basically based on him. He lived in a cottage in the Victorian time period. Life was really hard. Dickon grew a lot of potatoes, and those potatoes are used in this first dish. It's called Tatty Broth. In the UK, potatoes are sometimes called tatties. I'm melting 2 tablespoons of butter, and I'll be adding 1 chopped onion to that. I'm going to be sauteing these onions for 5 minutes. I've chopped up 2 large tatties. I'm going to pour those in the pot. And 3 cups of chicken broth. I'm going to bring this to a boil, and then I'm going to cover it and let it cook for about 15 minutes until those potatoes are nice and tender. The potatoes are soft. I've grated a carrot. I'm going to pour that in. I'm adding a little bacon. Now, bacon would be very special for Dickon and his family. Mainly, they would have that on special occasions. And a couple teaspoons of parsley flakes. Stirring that in, and then I'll cook it for another 3 minutes. Time for some tatty broth. And then top with some pepper. Now, Dickon also grew turnips and cabbage in his garden. You can add that in the tatty broth too. Here we go. Cheers to Dickon. So simple, really warms me up, and so comforting. This is just a very nice dish. I imagine it being winter time, and this would be the perfect, cozy winter treat. The Secret Garden story follows main character Mary Lennox as she leaves India after her parents' death to move into her uncle's stately home, Misselthwaite Manor. The Secret Garden Cookbook contains a section of Indian dishes to celebrate Mary Lennox's past. The dish I'm going to be making is Mulligatawny Soup. It is actually a soup that comes from Victorian era India. In a small pot, I need 2 tablespoons of butter. It's on a medium-low heat. I'm adding 2.5 tablespoons of flour. I'm going to mix that in and allow it to toast for about 2 minutes. Add a couple teaspoons of curry powder and a tablespoon of minced garlic. Stir it briefly to combine. I've got 1 2/3 cup of chicken broth here. I'm going to add a little bit of that and then whisk it up to break apart those lumps. Keep adding and whisking. I've got a cooked, cut up chicken breast here that I'm going to be adding. I'll continue to cook this on medium-low heat until this starts to thicken, about 3 to 5 minutes. Wow, look how thick that got. Now you need a can of coconut milk. I'm only adding half of the can into the pot. I'm going to be saving some of it to put on top. Give it a stir, but don't let it boil. And now you just add 2 teaspoons of lemon juice and mix that in. And then you just ladle it over some cooked rice. And some more coconut milk on top. Mulligatawny soup. Love that curry flavor, and that coconut really enhances it. This is a really good pepper water. Mulligatawny means pepper water. And our final recipe is a special treat from the Victorian era. They're called Jammy Chocolate Balls. They're a no-bake dessert, and they sure are easy. You'll need a blender, and we're gonna start with some of those vanilla wafer cookies. I'm using this entire 8-ounce pack. You're gonna put those in the blender. It also asks for 2/3 cup of pecans or walnuts. Well, I'm substituting and using some pretzel twists, pulse to make fine crumbs. I need to save a couple tablespoons of that for later in a side bowl and mix in 1/4 cup of sugar. To the blender, add 1/2 cup of powdered sugar, 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder, and 1/4 cup of jam, any type. I'm using my homemade Marionberry jam right in the blender. And then pulse until you create a dough. You need to form this into balls. Roll them into small balls and roll them in that mix. And place on some wax paper on a tray. And there you have it. Yep, they're going to go in the refrigerator and chill maybe an hour until ready to serve. And here we have those jammy chocolate balls. Let's taste them. They're really good. I did definitely taste that wafer cookie in there. The jam isn't fully jumping out at me. The chocolate is. I taste the jam now. It's a simple treat, and it's fun to do. So happy to try these exciting recipes. It has been a joy delving into the Secret Garden Cookbook. Are you a fan of that book? It's so much fun. Hope you have a wonderful day. Bye. What do flowers wear under their petals? Under plants.